Before the First Snow, Part 1, A Familiar Stranger. It was late October when Mia returned to her hometown for the first time in 7 years. The small village of Lanesfield hadn't changed much. Same crooked fences, same sleepy bakeries that opened at dawn and closed when the last pie was sold. But something felt different to her. Or maybe she was different now. She stepped off the train with a suitcase and a mind full of ghosts. Her mother's old cottage still stood at the edge of Willow Lane, buried in ivy and half-forgotten memories. The moment she opened the door, a gust of cold, familiar air wrapped around her like an old friend, or maybe a warning. The inside smelled of dust, cinnamon, and thyme. As she lit the fireplace, she noticed an envelope on the floor. No name, no address, just her initials, M.A. The handwriting struck her like a spark. She hadn't seen those letters since she was 18. Leo. Her breath caught in her throat. He was the boy with ink-stained fingers and a camera always hanging from his neck. The one who promised to wait. The one she left behind. She hadn't thought of him in years. Or at least, she pretended not to. The letter inside was brief. "You're back. I'll be at the lake before the first snow." It wasn't signed. It didn't have to be. Mia held the paper tightly, listening to the wind rattle against the windows like impatient fingers. Was it really him? And if so, did he still remember who she used to be? Part 2. Messages after the rain. The next morning, Emma stood by the window of her small apartment, the rain still gently tapping on the glass. The message from the day before haunted her. "I remember everything. Jacob had been gone for almost a year. After the accident, after the funeral, after the numbness. There had been no signs, no dreams, no weird phone calls, until now. She stared at her phone, willing another message to appear. And it did. "You always left the window open when it rained. You said the air smelled like forgiveness." Emma dropped the phone, her breath caught in her chest. No one knew that. No one except Jacob. She picked it up with trembling hands. "Who is this?" Seconds passed. Then, "I told you I'd come back. Just not the way you expected." Her hands trembled. She called her best friend Zoe. "Emma, listen," Zoe said carefully. "You've been through a lot. You're probably tired. Grieving can do strange things to us." "It's him," Emma whispered. "He remembers things no one else could." Zoe paused. "Then maybe you need to find out what he wants." That night, Emma received another message. This time, it wasn't just text. It was a photo. A picture of her and Jacob, taken on the night he proposed. But the background wasn't familiar. The street, the signs, even the way the sky glowed faintly green. It looked off. She zoomed in. In the background was a small newspaper stand. The date? Tomorrow. Her phone buzzed again. "I need you to come. You'll understand when you see me. Don't be afraid." Then a location. A real one, an old bookstore they used to visit, abandoned years ago. She hesitated, but something in her chest pulled her forward. The rain outside turned heavier, and Emma picked up her coat. Love in the Rain, Part 3. The rain had stopped by morning, but the weight it left behind still clung to Olivia's chest like a damp coat. She stared at the ceiling from her twin-sized bed, the muffled sounds of the city already creeping in through the window. Her mind wasn't on school, or even the looming piano recital her mother had reminded her about last night. It was on the way Ethan had looked at her before he stepped out into the storm. Like he was memorizing her face. She dragged herself through the motions of her morning, brushing teeth, tying her hair, slipping into the same black hoodie. Downstairs, her mom was too busy on a Zoom call to even say goodbye. Olivia didn't mind. Words were hard today. At school, Ethan wasn't there, His empty desk mocked her. First period passed. Then second. By lunch, her fingers were shaking. "Hey," said Noah, sliding into the seat across from her in the cafeteria. "You good?" She hesitated. "Have you heard from Ethan?" Noah's brows knit. "No. I thought he'd be with you." Olivia swallowed. "He left in the storm last night. After we talked." Noah leaned closer, lowering his voice. "Do you think something happened?" She didn't answer. Instead, she pulled out her phone and typed a message to Ethan for the 10th time that morning. "Please just say you're okay." She didn't send it, just stared at the screen. After school, she did something she'd never done before. She took the long route. Past the old movie theater. Past the abandoned train tracks. Past the library where she and Ethan once dared each other to hide books in the wrong sections. Eventually, she stood in front of his house. The curtains were drawn. The porch light was still on, even though it was barely 4 p.m. She stepped closer and noticed the front door was ajar. "Ethan?" she called. No answer. Olivia stepped inside. The air was cold, stale. The kind of cold that isn't about temperature, the kind that sets your skin crawling. She wandered deeper into the house. The living room was neat, untouched. A photo of Ethan's parents sat on the fireplace mantel. But something felt off. Too quiet. Too still. Then she heard it. A soft creak from upstairs. "Ethan?" No reply. Each step up the staircase felt heavier than the last. Her breath was shallow. At the top, the hallway stretched out in both directions, doors closed, shadows long. One door was slightly open. His bedroom. She pushed it. Empty. Except, on his desk was a letter. Her name was written on the envelope in his handwriting. Hands trembling, she opened it. "Olivia, I don't know how to explain what happened after I left last night. Something followed me. Something I can't see, but I feel it. In the mirror. In the silence. I tried to fight it, but I think it wants me gone. If you're reading this, I'm sorry. Please don't look for me. But I had to tell you, I love you. I think I always have. Please don't forget me. Ethan." Olivia stared at the letter, mouth dry. Behind her, the floor creaked again. But she was alone. Wasn't she? Love in the Echoes, Part 4. The air between them had shifted. The fragile distance that had once stood like a wall was now cracked open, and emotion seeped through like sunlight through broken blinds. Emma sat on the windowsill of the tiny cafe where they used to meet years ago. Rain streaked the glass, matching the rhythm of her heart. Across from her, Alex stirred his coffee, saying nothing, eyes fixed on the table. "You didn't come to the hospital," Emma said quietly. "I know," he answered after a pause. "I thought you wouldn't want me there." Her fingers curled around the teacup. "I waited for you." Alex finally looked up. "I was scared. I thought I'd lost my chance." "You had every chance," she said, a little sharper than she intended. Then softer. "But so did I. And I walked away too." The silence that followed wasn't uncomfortable. It was full, rich with all the things they hadn't said. "Do you remember what you said to me the night before I left for France?" she asked, a small smile teasing the corner of her lips. Alex's expression shifted. "You mean about the stars?" "Yes," she nodded. He chuckled. "I said if you ever miss me, just look at the sky. Because we'd be under the same one." Emma looked outside. The clouds were beginning to part. A few pale stars blinked to life above the streetlights. "I looked," she whispered. Alex leaned forward. "So did I." The weight of years, the heartbreak, the letters never sent, the birthdays missed, suddenly felt lighter. Maybe not gone, but manageable. I never stopped loving you, he said, voice raw. Emma's eyes shimmered. Then let's not waste any more time pretending we're strangers. As the cafe lights dimmed and the rain finally stopped, they sat in the warmth of that moment. Two people who had loved, lost, and maybe, just maybe, found each other again. Part 5. The silence between our hearts. The following weeks passed like a quiet dream. Elena and Theo fell into a rhythm that felt so natural. It was as if the universe had planned it all along. Mornings were filled with soft laughter over shared breakfasts in the tiny kitchen of her apartment. Afternoons meant long walks through sun-dappled streets, conversations that drifted from silly to soul-deep, and music that played softly from Theo's vintage cassette player. One evening, Theo showed her his favorite rooftop, a place above the city lights, hidden and quiet. You come here alone? Elena asked, standing near the edge. Theo smiled, watching her hair dance in the breeze. Not anymore. They sat there, wrapped in a blanket, watching the stars. And then, without music, without fanfare, Theo leaned in and kissed her. Slow, gentle, meaningful. It wasn't the first kiss, but it was the one that meant everything. But love, even the truest kind, doesn't always grow without storms. A letter arrived one morning. From Paris. A scholarship for Elena. Fully paid. A dream she had whispered to herself for years. Her fingers trembled as she held it, excitement warring with a new, painful fear. When she told Theo, he didn't speak for a long time. Then he smiled, a soft, sad smile. You have to go, he whispered. I don't want to leave you. And I don't want to lose you, he said, voice cracking. But I won't be the reason you stay small. Elena felt like she was breathing underwater. The next days were filled with everything unsaid. They made more memories. More walks. More nights holding each other in silence. But time was running fast. And both of them knew. Love isn't just about holding on. Sometimes, it's about letting go. Love in the Time of Letters, Part 6. The wind was warm that evening, the kind that whispered secrets through the tall grass and ruffled the curtains in Leona's room. She sat by the window, holding his most recent letter. The one that had arrived a week ago. She had read it at least 20 times, memorized the way he signed his name, the smudged ink from where his hand must have trembled. But no new letters had come since. Her fingers traced the edges of the paper, worn soft from overhandling. Each time she read his words, they felt closer to her skin, like his breath on her neck, like a promise. That night, she dreamed of him again. But this time, he wasn't standing across a foggy field or waving from a blurred train platform. He was in her house. In her kitchen. She walked in, barefoot, hearing the hum of the refrigerator and the soft clink of a spoon in a mug. And there he was, standing with his back to her, wearing the same gray sweater she'd sent him for his birthday. Elias? She asked. He turned slowly, smiling, but there was something off. His eyes were too dark, too still. And his voice, when he spoke, was not quite right. I'm home, Leah, he said. Forever. She woke up gasping. The dream left a film over her thoughts for days. At work, Leona's focus faltered. Her boss noticed her slipping deadlines. Her friend Mila tried to pull her back to normalcy. Friday night dinners, walks through the park, but her heart wasn't present. All she could think of was Elias. One evening, unable to bear the silence, she returned to the mailbox outside her old family house. Her parents had moved out long ago, but something in her gut told her to check. There was a letter. No stamp. No return address. Just her name, Leona. She opened it with shaking hands. I'm closer than you think. I see you when the wind touches your hair. I hear you when you whisper my name in your sleep. Don't look for me. I'm already where I need to be. Her legs buckled beneath her. She sank onto the grass, letter clutched to her chest, heart beating a painful rhythm. Had someone been watching her? Was this some cruel trick? Or was Elias really near? That night, she received another letter. Slid under her apartment door while she showered. It smelled like pinewood and old ink. Like his handwriting. Like his scent. And it ended with just 2 words. Part soon. What did it mean? Was he coming? Was he leaving? Again? Or had something crossed over? Something far beyond love and life? Part 7. Letters of the Heart. The apartment was quiet. Only the steady ticking of the old clock on the wall filled the silence. Sophie stood by the window, the morning sun casting a soft golden hue across her face. In her hands was the final letter Liam had written, the one she had saved for last, the one he had told her not to open until she was ready to forgive herself. Her fingers trembled as she unfolded the paper, aged slightly at the edges from being held and handled so often. The handwriting was familiar, steady and warm, like his voice, his presence, his love. My dearest Sophie, if you're reading this, it means you're still standing, still breathing, still strong. And I'm proud of you. I know you. I know how much weight you carry. Others don't always see it, but I did. You always wanted to fix things, to love hard, to protect even when you were the one bleeding. I need you to forgive yourself. For the nights you couldn't save me. For the moments you doubted love. For walking away from your music, from your laughter. I'm not writing this from pain. I'm writing it from peace. Sophie, I want you to live like we dreamed. Travel. Dance barefoot on hotel balconies. Write songs. Love again, fully. Openly. Wildly. You were the best chapter of my life. But now it's time you start a new one. Love, always. Liam. The tears came, but they were softer this time, no longer heavy with regret, but with release. Sophie walked to the piano for the first time in years. She sat down, fingers brushing the keys. A melody came, gentle, haunting, hopeful. It was their story, and it was finally ready to be told. Final scene. Months later, Sophie stood backstage at a small music venue in Florence. The lights dimmed, the crowd hushed. When she stepped onto the stage, guitar in hand, her voice didn't shake. She looked up into the warm glow of the spotlight and smiled. This song is called Letters of the Heart. It's for anyone who ever had to say goodbye before they were ready, but kept loving anyway. And with that, she began to sing. A new beginning, born from the deepest kind of love.